How to fight negative thoughts. Have you ever had a perfectly good day and one single thought ruined everything? Maybe it was an offhand comment someone made, a message that took too long to be answered, a small mistake at work, anything. And suddenly, your mind spiraled, revisiting, amplifying, catastrophizing, until you felt terrible about something that, objectively, wasn't that serious. That's not weakness. That's not drama. That's your mind doing exactly what it was programmed to do. The problem is that this programming was built for a world very different from the one we live in today, and it's costing you far more than it should. Today I'm going to show you why your mind produces negative thoughts, how they work on the inside, and more importantly, what you can actually do to fight them. Fair warning. There's a technique here that goes completely against what most people do, and it's exactly the most effective one. Stay until the end, because that's where it is. Why your mind thinks negative. Before you can fight anything, you need to understand what you're dealing with. Psychology explains this in a way that changes everything. Your mind doesn't think negatively because you're a negative person. It thinks negatively because it's trying to protect you. Think about it. For thousands of years, human beings survived by paying attention to danger. Those who ignored threats died. Those who stayed constantly alert survived. So evolution selected brains that pay more attention to the negative than to the positive. That's why you can easily forget a compliment. But a criticism keeps hammering in your head for days. That's why traumatic memories stick to the mind with much more force than happy ones. That's why the fear of losing is more intense than the joy of gaining. Your brain is not sabotaging you. It's doing the work it learned to do over millennia. The problem is that this system was designed for predators and scarcity, not for criticism at work, unanswered messages, and social media comparisons. And that's where things get complicated. How negative thoughts take hold. There's a simple framework that explains how everything happens inside our heads. It's called the cognitive cycle, and once you understand it, you'll never see your thoughts the same way again. It starts with a situation, something that happens in the real world, a message, a look, a comment, a silence. The situation itself is neutral. It has no meaning on its own. Then comes the thought, and this is where everything changes, because two people can experience the exact same situation and have completely different thoughts. Your partner doesn't answer the phone. One person thinks, must be in a meeting. Another thinks, they're ignoring me. The situation is identical. The thought is opposite. The thought generates a feeling, calm or anxiety, confidence or fear, well-being or distress. The feeling generates a physiological reaction. Your body responds, heart races, muscles tense, breathing shortens. And the physiological reaction generates a behavior. You act according to all of this. You send an aggressive message, go silent, explode, shut down. And the behavior generates new situations. And the cycle starts over. The entry point, the place where everything can be changed, is the thought. But here's the problem nobody talks about. You don't choose the thoughts that arise. What you can choose is what you do with them after they appear. The mistakes your mind makes without you noticing. Psychology has a name for distorted patterns of thinking, cognitive errors, and most people commit them constantly without realizing it. Error 1. Generalization. You lived a negative experience and drew a conclusion about everything and everyone. Someone betrayed you, and you concluded that no one can be trusted. You failed at something and concluded you're not capable. Someone didn't like you and concluded you're hard to love. The clearest sign that you're generalizing are the words everyone, no one, always, never, everything, nothing. Everyone lets me down. Everyone, billions of people, nothing ever works out for me. Nothing? Not one thing? When you catch yourself thinking these phrases, stop. Ask yourself, is this fact or generalization? Error 2. Exclusive. Focus on the negative. You had a day with 10 good things and 1 bad one. What do you think about before falling asleep? The mind trained for the negative automatically discards what went right and amplifies what went wrong. It's not malice, it's a pattern, but it's a pattern that can be broken. This is called training your focus. Because gratitude isn't naivety. It's a deliberate exercise in redirecting attention toward what's positive, which the mind naturally ignores. Error 3. The should. This is the most powerful one, and the least talked about. Albert Ellis, one of the greatest psychologists of the 20th century, spent years studying why people suffer so much. And he reached a surprising conclusion. Much of human suffering doesn't come from situations themselves, but from the demands we create about how things should be. I should be thinner. He should have called me. I shouldn't have made that mistake. She should respect me more. I should be further along in life by now. Should. Ellis was radical in his response. Nobody has to anything. There is no universal law that determines how people must behave or how your life must be. These are rules you created, based on your history, your culture, the conclusions you drew along the way. And when reality doesn't obey those rules, which happens all the time, you suffer. The swap Ellis proposes is simple but powerful. Replace should with would like. Not, he should respect me, but I would like to be respected. And if that doesn't happen, what am I going to do about it? That swap moves the responsibility back to you, and with responsibility comes the power to act. What to do in practice? Now comes the part that matters. Knowing that cognitive errors exist resolves nothing. What resolves things is what you do the moment they appear. Step 1. Observe without fighting. The first instinct of anyone who wants to fight negative thoughts is to suppress them. Stop thinking about this. I don't want to have this thought. Positive mindset. It doesn't work. Psychology shows that when you fight a thought, you put more attention on it, and it gets stronger. It's like trying not to think of a pink elephant. Now you can only think about the pink elephant. What works is the opposite, observing the thought without identifying with it. This is called metacognition, the ability to think about your own thoughts. It's creating distance between you and what your mind is producing. In practice, it sounds like this. There I go again, thinking I'm not enough. It's not agreeing with the thought. It's not fighting it. It's simply recognizing it and remembering that it's a product of your mind, not an absolute truth. Step 2. Thank your mind for trying. This sounds strange, but there's very solid logic behind it. Your mind produces negative thoughts because it's trying to protect you. It's not your enemy. It's an overprotective parent who overdoes the warnings. When you understand this, your relationship with your thoughts changes completely. Instead of fighting them, you can acknowledge the intention behind them. I see you're afraid of being rejected again. I get it. But this person is different. I'm paying attention. You can relax. When you stop fighting your mind and start dialoguing with it, the thought loses power because it fulfilled its function. It was heard. Step 3. Question the evidence. Every time a negative thought appears, ask yourself one simple question. Is this fact or interpretation? They didn't respond because they don't care about me. Fact or interpretation? I'm not good at this. Fact or interpretation? Everyone noticed that I made a mistake. fact or interpretation? Most of the time, it's interpretation, and interpretations can be questioned. Psychology suggests introducing doubt as the first step. You don't need to convince yourself the thought is wrong. Just create an opening. Is this me again? Am I projecting my past onto this situation? Doubt alone breaks the absolute certainty of the negative thought. And without absolute certainty, it loses the power to control your behavior. Step 4. If you can't change the thought, change the body. This is the technique that goes against everything most people do, and it's the most powerful one. Most people try to resolve negative thoughts in their head. They replay, analyze, try to convince themselves they're wrong. But neuroscience confirms the pathway between mind and body is bidirectional. The mind affects the body, but the body also affects the mind. If you're trapped in a cycle of negative thoughts and can't get out through your head, get out through your body. Move. Breathe deeply and slowly. Consciously relax your shoulders. Go for a walk. Anything that sends your brain the signal that there's no danger. Because when your body is tense, your brain interprets something dangerous must be happening and releases more cortisol, which generates more tension, which generates more negative thoughts. When you relax the body, even artificially, you interrupt that cycle, and the mind, receiving the signal that everything is okay, creates space for less catastrophic thoughts. That's why meditation, diaphragmatic breathing, and physical exercise work so well for mental health. It's not mysticism, it's physiology. Step 5. Write down the patterns. There's a practical recommendation that sounds simple and is transformative. Start writing down the thoughts that appear in difficult situations, not to analyze them right now, but to, over time, notice the patterns. You'll see that the same thought appears with different people in different contexts, that the conclusion you draw when someone ignores you is always the same, that the fear that appears in new relationships is the echo of something old, and when you see the pattern written down outside your head, it becomes clear that it's yours, not the situations, not the people around you. It's a lens through which you see the world, and lenses can be changed. So, what do you do with all of this? Fighting negative thoughts is not about becoming a positive person all the time. It's not about denying what's hard. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about stopping being dominated by interpretations your mind created to protect you and that are now keeping you from living. You don't choose the thoughts that appear, but you choose what you do with them. Observe without fighting. Question without condemning yourself. Redirect without forcing. And when you can't do that alone, and there are days you can't, remember that seeking help is not weakness. It's exactly what an intelligent person does when they realize they need a tool they don't yet have. Your mind spent years learning to think the way it thinks. It can learn a different way too. It just needs attention, practice, and a little patience with the process. You've already started just by making it to the end. See you next time.